All right. So, anyways, the goings on of the past couple of days. First off is some shit in Canada. There is stuff that I want to talk about in America, but I think that there's something more. Ironically, there's something more distressing coming out of our neighbor to the north, and that is relating to the issue of medically assisted suicide. Now, in the United States, we also have this. The idea is that if somebody is terminally ill, right? If somebody is terminally ill, there's a process that you can go through. If they're found to be like intensely suffering, and if it would be like worse for them if they were to be kept alive, because it's like there's nothing you can do to save them. Basically, being a mercy killing. That's a thing you can do in the United States. We call it like doctor-assisted suicide or whatever. And in Canada, they have that. However, they have a different, somewhat different version of it. In Canada, there is not the necessary prerequisite that you be on your deathbed. It is simply a medical process that you can go through if you have medical issues, serious medical issues, but, sometimes non-lethal ones, including, as they added recently, mental health issues. You can file for medically assisted death in Canada. And the process is quicker than most elective and non-elective surgeries to go through. People have been saying, and I don't have any reason to disbelieve them, that it is easier to get through the process of a medically assisted death in Canada than it is to get through the process of bottom surgery. So, gender affirming care is harder to access than a medically assisted suicide in Canada, right? So this creates a horrifying, nightmare scenario, dystopia, where, in fact, I saw a story on this recently. People are in dire straits, homeless, stricken with depression, anxiety, mental illness, have physical health problems as a result of their poor economic standing, because a lot of stuff still costs money to get access to. And they file for medically assisted suicide, not wanting to die, but knowing that they will die either way. So, let me actually go back to... Let me look. Shu put out a tweet about this. Shu on head. I will get to that in a minute. To the specific story. But basically, we're gonna see Canada basically become a late-stage capitalist dystopia, where people who have been put through the ringer of the failures of the state will have so thoroughly fallen through the cracks that they will be slowly killed by the ineptitude of the Canadian government and the Canadian welfare state, whatever remains of it. And then they will be told by the Canadian government, don't be down on yourself, there's always the option of killing yourself. And the state will assist them in killing themselves, but not in reaching socioeconomic circumstances where they would not have that need to kill themselves, if that makes sense. Basically, it is it's sort of like the eugenics world, where anybody who cannot be accommodated for, or anyone who it is cost ineffective to accommodate for, is disposed of by the state as an undesirable. And if you think that is an exaggeration, there is also a supposedly nonpartisan budget report, from like the Canadian equivalent of the Congressional Budget Office, which opens with a table on how, it would actually be very cost effective if we simply killed our homeless through state-assisted suicide rather than giving them homes. So, Canada having a normal one. made as an alternative to poverty. Where was this story from? Okay. Canada, MAID. Euthanasia in Canada. This is human euthanasia, by the way, that they refer to. Yeah. CTV News. Death debate. Why some welcome Canada's move to assisted dying for mental illness? Nah. Nah. So yeah, Canada recently expanded MAID so that it is possible to secure a state-assisted suicide if your only underlying issue is a mental illness. So basically, it is now possible and feasible for you to be depressed and have a suicidal ideation episode, the likes of which I have had in the past, where you say, fuck, I hate myself, I hate everything, and I want to die. And the state, instead of offering therapy and say, hey, no, don't think like that, we'll help you get back on your feet, they'll say, sure, we will help you kill yourself. Because, I don't know, I guess that's more convenient to them. Oh. I got him. Sorry, guy. You were rapidly approaching my first place position, and I had to dispose of you, much like the Canadian government wants to dispose of its homeless population. This is a respect in which Canada is a little bit worse than the United States. See, now don't get me wrong, in the United States we still commit social murder against homeless people by refusing to provide for them basically at all. The United States will use the institution of the police to forcibly remove homeless people from the streets where they have found some random bench to sleep on, or maybe not even then, because there's the anti-homeless benches. They'll bus them to different cities, they'll arrest them and all that stuff, but I can't believe I'm saying this, but fortunately we stop just short of, offering that they just kill themselves. We only, drive them to that point and then don't suggest anything. In Canada, they'll drive you to that point and then just suggest that you do it. Here's somebody. Serena Baines says all this talk about MAID for psychiatric disorders has only heightened her thoughts of suicide. A 24-year-old who lives in Surrey, British Columbia, has severe depression, anxiety, and borderline personality disorder. She was hospitalized once when she told the doctor she was planning her suicide. This is the correct course of action, of course, hospitalizing somebody for this. But despite her quote-unquote disabilities, as she calls them, she's completed a university degree and preparing to start a new internship in Ottawa. So she's actually able to make it a little bit in the world, which is good. That's great for her. Her worry is that if she spirals downward and hits a rough patch, she might be suicidal enough to ask MAID and qualify. A lot of the conditions I have, this is a quote from her, they're perceived as being severe. They've been consistent. I've had them since I was a teenager, she says. Serena's been on a wait list to see psychiatrists multiple times. This year it took like a year and 3 months, she tells the news org that's reporting this. Studies confirm that there are long waits for mental health care across Canada. 1 in 10 Canadians looking for counseling services wait more than 4 months. It's even longer for children and youth. Serena says the mental health care system is broken, which is true. It's not consistent, the health system, Serena says. And honestly, once they move you to another service, there's usually a wait list for that. She wonders why governments don't offer more mental health services before making MAID widely available. My thoughts exactly. Not only are there long waits, people with mental disorders often face problems with access to healthcare, housing, and food. According to the Canadian Mental Health Association, 70 to 90% of people living with serious mental illnesses in Canada are unemployed. Oh, fuck you, Dr. Weeb. Dr. Weeb says, although there are weaknesses in the mental health system and wait times are too long, it doesn't mean patients shouldn't necessarily be eligible for assisted death. You know what? Yes, it should. I'm sorry. I'm gonna stake out that position right now. You should not be able to access your own suicide more easily than you can access mental health care. Sorry, Canada. Skill issue. Get fucked. So here we have this young woman, clearly very bright, who, you know, got a university degree and all that, but has very serious mental health issues that she's, you know, struggling with. You know, I've been there. I don't know what her life is like. She might be quite a bit smarter than me. She might have a better job prospect than I do, or whatever. You know, she's getting an internship. But at the same time, she's having episodes of, like, suicidal ideation, and she's worried that in a fit of suicidal ideation, she will apply to and get accepted for the medically assisted death program. Basically, she's worried that since the state has made it easier for her to commit suicide, she's going to think about suicide more, which has already started happening, and the state is just going to help her kill herself, therefore killing her by proxy. Holy fuck, Canada. And holy fuck, Justin Trudeau. Like, granted, that guy is hot, but Jesus Christ, there is not a lot going on in his brain. Either that or there's some serious contempt in there for the nation's poorest people and, you know, most vulnerable people as well. Most liberal country in the world, says somebody after banning this. No. I'm gonna go with no. See, and this is what I mean as well. This, like, CTV News W5. This, like, the Canadian media institutions are like calling it 50-50 on the issue of should the state be assisting people in killing themselves. This is a clear no. That should not be what's happening. The state already has a monopoly over legitimized violence. What the fuck? Like, the state has the cops, it has the fucking military, it has the criminal justice system, it has the death penalty in certain countries. The state basically already has the authority to decide to kill you, and that's fucked up. Why are they spinning this like it's a positive? This is another way that the state can just decide, yes, this person should die. Only this time they get to put up the thin veneer of, oh, well, they also wanted to die. Like, give me a fucking break. And this is a matter of healthcare and a broad-ranging health system failure in Canada. This is like Middle Ages shit, when somebody got sick with the plague and you just bled them dry. Except at least then they weren't trying to kill them. Holy fuck. Here comes my anger back bubbling up. I gotta take a beat after that one, and then I'll move on to the next thing. God. I'm realizing now I might not have sounded entirely coherent during that screed, but you know, it's because as somebody who has depression myself and who has experienced suicidal ideation, actually to the point where I was thinking about, all right, if I wanted to, how would I go? It you know, this strikes a nerve with me that a government would just decide, hey, you know how we have like a mental health crisis and how our health system is failing and letting people slip through cracks? Yeah, what if we, instead of, you know, fixing that, because, why would we fix that? You know, we don't need to fix it. What if we just made it easier for people to kill themselves so they were no longer a burden on the system, so to speak? Holy fuck. In 2021, there were 10,000 MAID provisions reported in Canada, accounting for 3.3% of all deaths in Canada. Jesus, this represents a growth rate of 32% over 2020. Jesus Christ. Profile of MAID recipients. I'm not terribly interested in demographics. I think that's not going to tell me anything I don't already know to a certain extent. Nature of suffering. Where's the there is a table, the infamous, I guess to me infamous table of here we go. Cost estimate for Bill C7, medical assistance in dying. MAID. All right. Gross reduction in healthcare costs. And then, let's see if we go down there. In millions. Okay. All right. So, that budget report found that expanding MAID would result in $89 million, I think. It was either 89 or 86. We'll say 86. $86 million Canadian, presumably, of savings on the Canadian healthcare system, which is kind of tautological. If you no longer have people to worry about in your healthcare system, then yeah, you're going to be spending less money on your healthcare system because you've killed off those people. But you know, you can wave the flag of nonpartisanship or bipartisanship all you want. That is government advocacy for the policy that leads to the state helping people kill themselves, and I hate it a lot. What was it? 86 point. Okay, so 87 million dollars would be saved with this bill to expand MAID, meaning we will help you kill yourself, and it will save us tens of millions of dollars. So please let us help you kill yourself. Basically, is what I'm getting out of that. Like, we already knew that states commit social murder by denying existing healthcare services to people. We knew that they, commit social murder by way of the death penalty, of sentencing people to inhumane prison conditions where they, where people are subject to insane levels of abuse that could result in their death, by using the cops and the military as instruments of force that kill people. But, this is really an acceleration almost to the logical extreme of a government using its power to kill people. This is like the most direct that it has ever been, I think, on a government's own population, where we don't just immediately see it as like, yeah, this is oppressive third world dictatorial bullshit. Oh, you have mental health problems? No worries, we'll just kill you. Incoming Gattaca memes, but I think it's like we've earned it at this point.